Hi there, my name is Dr. Bree. I am a doctor of physical therapy and I specialize in whole person pelvic health, holistic pelvic health. And if you want more information about the mental and emotional work of pelvic health, the mind-body connection, then please check out my 10-day challenge. I'll put the link in the pinned comments. And today we're going to do a workout, a stretching routine that's great for your abdominal and your groin and psoas region. So the hip flexors, groin, inner thighs, abdominal area, which often can be tight when there's pelvic floor tension. This is going to be perfect for you. So begin on your back and we're going to get right to it. You don't need any equipment for this. But we're going to begin just actually with some rubbing, gentle rubbing of the inner thigh area, the front thigh area, the hip crease area, the belly. Just rub anything in there, in that area, to help begin to improve blood flow, to hydrate and warm up the fascia and the muscles that we're going to stretch. So this is such an overlooked component of a lot of stretching routines. Is this gentle touching of the tissues and rubbing of the area is so great for the health of your fascia and your muscles. And the fascia is the tissue that surrounds and interweaves everything throughout your whole body. All right, big deep breath. Big strong exhale, let it out. And let's begin. So we're going to start with pelvic rocks. And you're going to inhale. Arch your low back off the ground, let your belly expand, and then exhale. Press your low back into the ground, belly draws in. So inhale, belly expands, you arch your low back. Exhale, belly pulls in, and low back presses down toward the ground. Again, inhale. And exhale. Inhale and exhale. And bring your attention not just to what your low back is doing, but also what your pelvis is doing. So your pelvis is rocking one way, and then it's rocking the other way. And you can start to feel your hip flexors, what's happening there in your hip flexor area, the front hip area. Just notice your low back muscles. Notice your hip flexors. Just notice what's happening as you do this exercise. It's our last round. And now come back to neutral and let's go into a bridge. So firmly place your feet on the ground. Knees are over your ankles. And you're going to inhale. Exhale and round up like you're picking up a string of pearls up off the ground with your spine. Hold it here. This is hard work. So just know that this is a lot. If you can only lift your butt an inch, that's okay. But if you can lift it more, that's going to help stretch the front hip area. And if you want even more, clasp your hands underneath you and work your shoulders underneath you too and really lift the hips toward the sky. And now release down slowly. Setting that string of pearls down, one pearl at a time as you set your vertebra down. Now, you're going to bring your right leg so that it is crossed over. So your foot is just right above your knee on your thigh, or right below your knee, however you want to look at that. Your foot is on your thigh. And now press this bent knee away from you and just feel that stretch in your hip area. We're going to do some bridges with this figure 4 position. So this is a big workout for your glutes. It stretches the front, strengthens the back, and stretches out this entire right hip. So hands on the ground, inhale, and exhale, lift and down. Let's do 5. So lift and down. Keep breathing. 2 more. And last one. It's a lot, isn't it? Okay, now hold it here. Inhale, and then exhale. You're gonna keep everything as a unit. So don't move a muscle, except tip your whole self to the left. Tip your legs to the left. Now, your shoulders can actually stay flat on the ground, but it's like the whole bottom part tipped to the left. Okay? Now, use your left hand to push out against your inner thigh. So, your shoulders are on the ground. This is a spinal twist. Shoulders are on the ground, and you're pushing your thigh away from you. You should feel a nice stretch on the outer hip area of this right side. Your inner thigh might feel something, and your pelvic floor is getting some release work too. So just breathe. One more deep breath. Now, what you're gonna do is release your left hand, fish hook your right arm underneath and behind your thigh. So it's like a fish hook. And you're gonna bring that right leg up toward your shoulder and your armpit area. So right now I'm kind of hanging out on my side. I'm on my left side, I'm hanging out, and I'm just bringing that knee toward my shoulder. And you can move it around a little bit, breathing deeply. And then from here, just find a nice position where you feel some openness in the groin, the inner thigh area, and see if you can straighten that leg. Now, it might not straighten all the way, it might just go to here, and that's okay. You might be way back here, and that's okay too. Just a little bit of a straightening is what we want. But if you can straighten a little bit more, that's great. If you are more flexible and you want to grab onto the outside of your foot, you can, and just stretch that hamstring area. When we're stretching the front, we also want to be balanced, so stretch the back too. So we're opening up our inner thigh, our pelvic area, and we're stretching the back of the leg. Now, we're going to roll onto the back and move into half happy baby. So it's kind of a funny little transition. All you're going to do is bend this knee, and it's going to go to the outside of this right straight arm. So bend the knee, it goes to the outside of your arm, and you're now on your back. You're in half happy baby. My left leg is just bent. Opening the pelvic floor, opening this groin, inner thigh, hip area. Trying to press the tailbone down toward the floor. So don't let your tail kind of curl up off the ground. That's not what we're going for. Press your tailbone down toward the floor. Knee of the right side is going down. And your shoulder, try to shrug it down as well, so it's not all hunched up here toward your ears. So everything is shrugging down, opening and breathing. One more deep breath. And now bend that knee. Put the leg down. Maybe take a minute to kind of roll out your legs, and we're going to do the same series on the other side. So bend up your knees. We bring the left leg up onto the right thigh. We're in that figure 4 stretch, and just take a minute to feel that stretch. Feel it opening up the inner thigh, stretching the outer hip. And now we're going to do the bridges. We do 5 reps. Right foot is flat on the ground. Hands can support you. And we inhale, exhale 5 times. Lift. Oof. Feel that strengthening and toning the glutes, stretching the front and stretching the hip. And down. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Now, the whole lower body moves as a unit. Keep your shoulders on the ground, but the whole lower body is tipping, 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 tipping to the right until my foot is flat on the floor. This foot is now flat on the floor. If your foot can't reach the floor, put a yoga block under it. So just a little tip for you. Now, in this position, right hand is going to press that inner thigh this way. So press it away from you. We're not going for this look. You're going for a pressing toward the opposite wall. So press it away from you. This opens up the inner thigh. It stretches out the glutes and hip area out here, the outer area. And remember, your shoulders are flat on the ground as you're just opening up this hip. One more deep breath in this position, breathing like you have little lungs deep in your hip area, deep in your pelvic floor area. Fill up those lungs. Pretend like they're down in your hips. And now you're going to fish hook your arm underneath that thigh of that left leg. So swoop it around and bring that left knee toward your left shoulder. Right now I'm kind of laying on my side, my right side. So just lay on your side and just move that knee around, just moving it, rocking it. Opening the pelvic floor, opening the hips. If you're out here, that's okay. You don't have to be all the way up here. It's just whatever your body's up for today. And now, see if you can straighten that left leg. Still opening the pelvic area, opening the hips, and also stretching that hamstring. Maybe you're just doing it a little bit and that's fine. Maybe you're doing it a lot and even holding on to your foot. Whatever you're doing is totally fine. Now we're going to move into that half happy baby. So bend your knee, and remember the knee is now coming to the outside of that straight arm. Now I should have told you this on the other side, but if you're like, I can't do this, this is way too much, then just hold on behind your thigh still, and you can still be in the shape of this half happy baby. You're opening through the hips, but you're not all the way in the full position. So just do what works for you. If you're in the half happy baby, then you can be on your back. You can rock a little. And remember, the tailbone is pressing down toward the floor. So you're not curled up off the floor. The tailbone is pressing down toward the floor. The knee is going down toward the floor. The shoulder is shrugging down toward the floor. And your neck is lengthening. So you're not like this. Try to lengthen the neck. Really great move for opening the pelvic area, the groin, everything. So take one more final breath and then bend your knee and place your foot down toward the ground. And we're just going to go into our second to last stretch, which is our Supta Baddha Konasana. So relax with your feet together, knees are open and apart. And if you find that this makes your back arch off the floor, or if you're just really, really tight, then I want you to place pillows or yoga blocks under your knees. Also, if you are hypermobile, if you're super flexy and you're just like this, but you know you have pelvic tension, then also place stuff under your knees, like pillows, yoga blocks, pad up the area under your knees. Because even though you can stretch all the way, You want this position to be very relaxing and opening for your pelvic floor muscles. And sometimes it can be helpful to have a little support under your legs so that you can focus on really releasing your pelvic floor in the middle of it all. Because a lot of people who are super flexible are actually tight in the pelvic floor. So the idea is we're wanting everything to release and relax. So if you need something under your knees so that your legs, your leg and hip muscles and your pelvic floor can soften and melt, then go get something. Push pause on the video and find something to place under your legs for support. You want to feel like your pelvic floor muscles, your inner thighs, your hips have lungs inside of them, like they're breathing and expanding and softening and relaxing. Let's do 2 to 3 more nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then carefully bring your legs up. You can use your hands to assist you if you need some help. And then come to your side. And our last stretch has 2 different options. So this is one that's going to stretch out your hip flexors and your abdominal area. So this is option 1, is your shoulders are right above your elbows and you're in a sphinx pose. So your forearms are parallel. Try not to let this happen. You want to lift the turtle out of its turtle shell. Don't be a turtle in a shell. You want to lift up. And the key here next is you're going to be nice and lifted. Gently pull your low belly toward your spine. So lift your pelvic floor and your low abs gently in and up to support your back. That'll already maybe make you feel a little bit of a stretch in your hip flexors, the front hip area. But now I want you to tuck your toes under and really reach your heels back so your knees are lifting up off the ground. And this will increase your hip area, the front hip area. You might feel it a little differently. This might feel really good. Hopefully it feels really good. So really feeling that whole front hip flexor area, that abdominal area. You're lifting. Everything feels lifting and also stretching at the same time. Now, release. Come down and shake out your butt. Shake it all out. You're either going to repeat that stretch or you're going to join me if your wrists can handle this next one. If anything that I show you makes your low back hurt, then you either need to gently engage your abdominals a little bit more or you need to stop and just do child's pose, okay? So don't push yourself to the point of pain. Now, for our next stretch, again, you're either going to repeat this one or you're going to come up, bring your hands back close to your chest, and you are going to reach all the way up into upward facing dog. So this is where you're really lifted. Now, your knees can be down on the floor. They don't have to be up off the floor. But I want you to make sure that your shoulders are down away from your ears. This takes some arm strength. And you are going to tip your body. So you're tipping, and I am now putting my pressure on my left knee, and my right knee is up off the ground. And I'm feeling that stretch in the front of my left hip flexor. Bend the right knee so it's a little more supportive, and look over your right shoulder and feel that stretch in the front of your left hip. Breathing into this area. Shoulders are down away from your ears. It's like you're pressing into the floor and feeling that stretch in the front of your left hip. Now, you're going to come back to the middle. Gently lift your low belly toward the spine to protect your back. Come up into the upward facing dog. Tip so that your right knee is on the ground, your left knee is up off the ground, and you're looking over your left shoulder. Then bend that left knee and feel that stretch in the front of your right hip. Try to be evenly balanced on your arms. You don't want to be dumping into one side. You want to be evenly pressing into the ground. This is a lot. It's a pretty active and intense move. So remember, you can always just do the first variation that I showed you. Looking over that left shoulder, feeling the stretch in the front of your right hip, and breathing. Now, knee goes back and carefully press down, whoo, and shake it out. All right, let's end with a child's pose. So come on up and exhale all the way back into a wide-kneed child's pose to really open the hips. Feet are together, knees are apart. Exhale all your air out and come down. And again, I really love those stretches, but I have been doing them for a while. So if they felt at all pinchy or uncomfortable on your low back, then back off a little. Don't do the full thing that I showed you at the very end. It's a really intense stretch and you have to work up to it. So let yourself relax. One more deep breath. And then come on up and we'll finish it there. So thank you so much for watching this and participating with me. I hope you loved it. You can do this regularly, at least 3 to 5 times a week for more mobility in the hips. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, tell someone who needs it about my YouTube channel, which is all about holistic pelvic health. And remember to check the video description for more ways to work with me and ways we can connect. All right, until next time, remember to eat clean, move every day, and you will shine brighter. I'll see you in my next video.